Hello everyone. Happy Motivational Monday. My name is Kira and I am your host, and I'm always your host. And honestly, it is such a delight and a joy to be able to host Motivational Monday and to spend my Mondays with you. I don't think I think Mondays, yeah, Mondays used to be a very emotional day for me in general, and now Mondays are just hype days for me because we get to be here having these conversations, making our Mondays better than they ever have been before. And I'm not just saying that because I created this event and I love it. I'm saying that because it's actually working, at least for me. So my hope is that it works for you. And if Motivational Monday is having a positive impact on your life, drop 111 in the chat. I'm very, very, very curious. And I say that in the way of like that it makes my Mondays better. We only have 3 Mondays together this month because we have Memorial Day. So I'm gonna miss you all that week. Do not expect to be on Motivational Monday. We do have YouTube recordings. If you're like, oh my God, I just need a slice of Kira and a guide every Monday, I don't know what to do with myself. We have all of the recordings, so you can watch those. And actually, I will drop our YouTube link in the chat right now as we speak so that you can have that and just if there's ever a day that you ever need a little bit more, you've got it. So here, hold on, let me drop it in the chat for you. Cool. So we have Candice here. A lot of you have met her. Say hi in the chat. Give her some love. Throw her some emojis. I'll give her a formal introduction in a moment. But we are in a transition right now. So our entire quarter 2 spring season is focused on rooted in well-being. So that's physical well-being, emotional well-being, and mental well-being. We just finished our physical well-being series that we did in April. We had Candice for one of those. We also had her on our Connect session. So if you love her energy and you want more, we have those recordings. I just dropped the link in the chat for you, and you can drop in and you can see those. But we just finished our physical well-being series, and before we drop into I love the energy in the chat, by the way. Thank you, everyone. Are you kidding me? Cinco de Mayo, we're bringing the fire. But um, I'm going to put a poll up. It's a quick little poll. I want to know where you were feeling before our physical well-being series and how you're feeling now that our physical well-being series has ended. And then there are some spots for you to leave some notes and some feedback and some love if you want to. No pressure, no expectations. But I'm going to pull that up and it should just pop up right on your screen for you to fill out. If you're on your phone, it might not. But don't feel left out. You matter. And you can always just type it in the chat if you're like, oh my gosh, I want to tell them everything. I would happily receive that. So while that's happening, I'll let you in on a little bit of what we're doing, what's happening, the whole thing. So right now we are in season 3, and again, we're focused entirely on well-being. So with that, some of us maybe know it, some of us don't, but well-being is the state of being comfortable, healthy, or happy. And we're diving in multifaceted, right? Like we're not just doing one layer, we're not just telling you to drink water, we're doing all of it. We've talked about sleep, we've talked about exercise, we have talked about physical movement. We've talked about a lot. We've even talked about how trauma is stored in the body. We've talked about pleasure and how that's such an important part of well-being. So we've done a lot. And just, I don't even know how we did that all in a month, but apparently we did all of that in a month. Thank you all for being here. So that's that when it comes to well-being. And while you all are still filling it out, I want to tell you a little story. So I interviewed one of our guides for our next month's Rooted in Well-Being series, and it's going to be so good. But she was like, I jumped on to one of your Motivational Mondays and watched a recording, and it was that Motivational Monday that sealed the deal on me becoming a guide. And she was like, you were showing everyone your earrings. And I don't know if you all remember, were you here in the beginning? Drop 222 in the chat if you were here in the beginning when I used to show you all like my earrings and my fits in the beginning. I'm going to do it again right now because we have a poll that you all are filling out. But I've got my little sunshine earrings on. My name, Kira, means being of light or beam of light. So like me and the sun are just a vibe. And then I have my little sun phone case here. But then I'm also wearing my Claude Monet flower shirt, and I feel like my earrings are giving life to my flowers. So that's my little vibe for the day. I'm going to give you all another moment to finish this survey. I'll probably give you another 45 seconds and I'll do a 5-second countdown at the end, but I'll intro Candice while I'm giving you all that space. So We have Candice, known as Coach C. Don't call her Candy. She's a devoted wife, dog mom, and purpose-driven entrepreneur. After nearly 8 years as a medical coder, emotional burnout led her to take a leap of faith and found her own wellness enterprise. Diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder in 2015, with additional diagnoses in 2020, Candice embraced intensive therapy in 2023. That is 8 long years, girl, and now proudly advocates for healing. She's an NASM certified personal trainer, nutrition coach, and behavior change specialist. Who is this woman? Currently pursuing clinical exercise psychology, marriage and family therapy, and is a licensed clinical counselor and is ultimately pursuing a doctorate in sports psychology. Like, I just can't with this woman. Guided by faith, she's on a mission to heal the world one beautiful soul at a time. I love that part specifically, one beautiful soul at a time. Because some people get like really big and grandiose with their visions, but like if we can just help one person change their lives and do that, that is how we make change in the world. So she actively advocates for people of color and colors, I suppose, to reclaim their health, restore their minds, and rise in their own power. Candice, will you say hi and give us some love? We need some of your energy.
Hi, everybody. What's up? I'm coming off the energy of the Sinners movie last night. So if I'm extra today, that's why.
I love it. I mean, I'm extra every day.
Yeah.
Okay, everyone, that poll that's on your screen, I am ending it now. You've got 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, I'm gonna end the poll. So, Candice, I know today is a little bit of a conversation about clearing mental clutter and who we can become without the mental clutter, which I think is a perfect space to start our mental well-being, which is what the entirety of May is going to be. Everything we do at Life Guides, events related, mental well-being in a really cool way. So, I want you to tell us a little bit about, let's start with your environment, like the world that you live in, the way that you see your world, and how that affects your mind and can create mental clutter.
Yeah. So backstory to that is kind of my journey to mental health. So my mom, she's old school. So during the pandemic, I was spiraling, I was ruminating, and my mom would come home and she would see like my room. And so at the time my mom didn't understand mental health. Again, she's old school, but she would look around and see that my room was in disarray. And she was like, "Remember, I've always taught you a cluttered home is a cluttered mind." And so she would clean up for me because I didn't have the wherewithal to do it. And once she cleaned up, I felt like 25-30% better. And if anybody knows anything about mental health, especially anxiety coupled with depression, feeling marginally better is like feeling like it went from rainy to sunny. So for me, environment is very, very, very important. I want everyone to think about like how they felt before they've cleaned up versus how they felt after they cleaned up. And for like the nerds and like the archetypes that think of things in numbers and logic, clutter is data. So like you have data and it's disorganized in your space. And when you are disorganized, it often mirrors the overwhelm in your mind. And so I was in a group therapy session before I started intensive therapy. And one of the things I had someone in my group therapy group who she was like, "I want to make a Zen circle." And she was like, "But I'm going to move first." And we were all like, especially our therapist was like, "Why do you need to move first?" And she was like, "Oh, I don't really like my place." But I was like, "You're in therapy right now. Your space is not the way you want it. Why would you wait to perfect your space until you move? Don't you feel like improving where you're at right now with whatever you have now is more imperative than waiting for the right time?" I think that's what a lot of us do. We wait for the right time. So thinking about how often did you put off clearing your space? Spring cleaning is one of those big trends that go on, but you can spring clean every day. Every day can be a new season to spring clean. And I think that it's important to start to deconstruct the overwhelm one layer at a time. So when we talked to her about her Zen circle, I was like, "Girl, just start with like a corner of your room. You don't have to do your whole apartment, but make something that you can look forward to now because you're waiting to move, but you're allowing yourself to be in a state of mental dysfunction and emotional dysfunction by trying to wait for the right time. And I think that's what a lot of us do metaphorically, right? Is like we wait for the right time and then it starts to build up. And that's the same thing with your environment. If you wait for the right time, it will never come. So you could like start small. Like you could start with, like I said, my homegirl's corner. And she ended up doing it and she was like, I feel so much better. And for me, when I was dealing with like heavy anxiety and depression, I would ask myself, what's one thing I can do right now to feel better? And it was always cleaning. Like my husband can tell you, it's always cleaning. And it would be like tidying up. I couldn't leave my bed. I was essentially bedridden from anxiety and depression. And so I would just get up, stand by my bed so I felt safe. And then I would clean my dresser. And I would like, how many of y'all feel like you feel a sigh of relief when you clean up just one thing? Like if you're at work right now, or if you work from home, or you have just a workspace, clearing that area feels like your mind, yeah, like always cleaning, because there's something cathartic about it. And it really does lend itself to mental cleanliness. So you could ask yourself, like, what's one space that drains me just by looking at it? And then what can I do about it right now? You know how laundry like piles up after like a month and then like you leave it there? I just be like, okay, I'm gonna just put away the things that I can feel comfortable putting away today. And then I feel motivated and then I start adding to it. So do like a power move. Make cleaning like your jam. Do it with intention. I was listening to this podcast called Balanced Black Girl, and she does Finance Fridays, which inspired me. And she was like, I make it a date. So I get my wine, my music, make cleaning like for me, I make it a whole vibe. My husband is like in another dimension because I got my music on, my jams on. Sometimes I'll put on something cute so I can look at myself in the mirror while I'm cleaning and being like, I feel better already. So make it a ritual. Don't make it a routine. Don't make it a chore. Make it something that you can look forward to, because again, cleanliness is like a labyrinth, and that mirrors the labyrinth in your mind. And if you can clear the labyrinth of your personal space, your environment, that will help clear out the clutter in your mind. I think being able to think straight comes from having a straightened up environment, even if that's at work in your desk or at home or a section of your home. You can literally start small and break it into chunks so they feel actionable, viable, and you feel better every time you do something, because we're built off of atomic habits, like the book. We're built off of doing small things, because I'm reading this book called Attack Your Day Before It Attacks You. And it talks about how, like, we start to lose self esteem when we don't do those things that end up piling up. Like, it actually affects our self esteem and our self worth if we don't end up doing the things that we've allowed to pile up. So that's why you start small and microscopically. And then every time you accomplish that rung on the to do list, it makes you feel better than trying to complete something all at once. And then you kind of feel set back, or like it's too much of an obstacle. So yes, clean your room. And I'm gonna sound like your mama, but no, it's for real. It's gonna help in all facets.
I love that. Oh, Gabrielle's like, I'm literally crying right now. That hit so hard.
Oh,
I'm
I'm
so
so
happy to hear
glad.
that.
Yes, let it out. We're gonna talk about that later, but that's cleaning too. Emotions, all that good stuff. So I'm glad it touched you.
Aw, and you really do have such a beautiful way of expressing things, and
Thank
also I think
you.
that your journey is so real because you've been through so much and know what it's like to literally be debilitated by your experience. And I think that that can really hit home for some people. And if we're talking about atomic habits and developing habits, like if you don't have the habit of being clean right now, and that's something that you struggle with, work on just making your bed as soon as you get up, because there's something called habit stacking, where when you develop one habit really solid, you can start stacking other habits on top of it and it becomes second nature very easily. But your bed is a perfect place to start having that cleanliness and to have, like you can sleep in cleanliness, you can wake up in cleanliness. And it's so funny that we're having this conversation because I was going to ask, and a lot of you are saying it in the chat, how many of you are spring cleaning right now? Drop 444 in the chat. If I could show you what's up in my space, it would be crazy. But I'm the type of person
Okay.
where I need to see the mess to clean the mess. So if I can shut it in a closet and not look at it, I just but so what I did is I'm moving in like 6 months. I'm getting rid of a bunch of things. I pulled out everything. I went to my storage unit, pulled out all of my clothes, pulled out all of my clothes from my closets. And I have piles of clothes that I'm going to sell and piles of clothes I'm going to give away and piles of clothes I'm keeping. And I'm in the mess right now, but it's an exciting mess because it's no longer hidden and it's no longer away. And, I have dogs and a job and all these other things. I can't just all of a sudden overhaul my whole life. But I look at it every day and my brain's tinkering. It's like, what do I do with that? And what do I do with this? And it's that feeling of letting go, too, like letting go old versions of ourselves, letting go of old thoughts that we've had, letting go of old emotions. Even like I found some t-shirts from an ex. I don't need those. I'm never going to wear them. Letting him go and like my heart still hurts from him. Just like little things, right? It all matters. So with that, Candice, I would love to hear a little bit more about like the self-talk and more of the internal world of mental clutter and what that looks like.
Yeah, I feel like what you said about your ex and like letting go of something physical to let go of something mental and emotional is so important. If any of y'all are like, how many of you guys are like, you watch something that's motivating, but you don't do it? So, like for me, that was Marie Kondo. When I was stuck in bed, I would watch like Marie Kondo. I forgot what her show was called on Netflix, but she's so revered for the way that she cleans. I believe she's Japanese, and so she has a very cultural way of cleaning. And what she does is she ties her organization into an emotional bind. And so what you said about letting go of a physical thing to let go of something mental is so important. And just speaking to the mental emotional part, um internal chaos that comes from internal clutter, just letting go of, even if your space is clean, sometimes you'll still feel like there's mental clutter. And it could feel like, "Oh, I'm so behind, like why can't I get it together?" Like, you're not thinking those things for no reason. And yeah, perfection is imperfection, right? But you're not thinking those things for no reason. A lot of time mental chaos and like internal chaos comes from external overload. And so that doesn't just look like your immediate space. That could just be um social media. Like I'm like the granny that tells you get off social media, cuz if you get off that daggone game, you'll make something of your life, right? Like I I feel like we have a need for social media to a point. And I feel like we have lost the art of connection. But even with that, family expectations, feedback loops, that we never asked for, and then even like digital overload, like too many tabs open. I have, I think, 114 tabs open. I'm like the one that thinks I need everything open or I'll forget. But none of your internal chaos is for no reason. So reframing your mind to think like, because a lot of times we'll be like, I'm so disorganized. Why can't I get it together? We got to reframe it, because then a lot of times the result is I'm lazy or I'm procrastinating. And if you're a a thinker like I am, an overthinker, reframing is a tool that benefits all of us. And it looks like saying, I'm probably just overwhelmed, I'm under supported, or I'm disconnected from my purpose. Not telling myself that I'm lazy, because it's always important to declutter by replacing negative thoughts with positive ones as well. That's another thing. When you clean your physical space, you replace clutter with beauty, right? Or positivity. So if your area needs to smell better, you'll add flowers or Febreze or whatever. It's the same thing that you would do in your mind, is replacing the negativity with beauty and positivity and affirming yourself. And so if you're like someone who's more sensory, it helps to like mindfully journal, to track your repeated thoughts and see what that looks like over time. Like if you're a type that kind of self talks negatively, or it's also important to know that some people can speak negatively to you too, and that is mental clutter as well. If you have constant negative feedback from others who are not affirming you or supporting you, that's going to cause chaos and clutter. Reevaluating your social systems is extremely important because that adds to the mental dysfunction. Because people are feeding you things that aren't true. Because if you were to step back and say, this person is criticizing me, this entity is making me feel small, is that true? Because that leads to imposter syndrome, that leads to a lot of things. So by mindfully journaling or asking yourself, like, whose voice is this? Is this my voice really? Like, am I the confident baddie or the confident like fly guy? Or is this somebody else that is trying to plant that seed? Right? Like, imagine if you like, it's kind of like moving files out of your mind. Like, you're deleting old recordings of things that no longer serve you in your mind. So it's very important that you kind of cleanse the archives and the Rolodex of things that aren't you in your mind. And that can help by tracking. What I used to do during the depressive state is I would video record myself. I remember April 1st, 2023, I said, today I don't feel like myself. I'm not happy. It was rainy, just like actually, it was sunny outside. And I said, I'm going to feel better. But today I feel like crap. I I don't feel like I want to be here, but I'm not going to let this feeling last. So I would create a video diary so I could see my journey and see where I came from. So mentally cleansing and the emotional attachments that come with mental chaos are very important.
I love that so much. Instead of and I do this too. I ran a social media business with my face and my voice for 5.5 years. So I'm used to making videos and being vulnerable via camera. But there's something really special about being like, I want to remember this moment. And it's not always the good moments that we want to remember. There are times right now, like I'm in a huge overhaul of my life. And there are times right now where I'm like, I know where I'm at right now and I know where I'm going to be. And once I get to where I want to be, I want to have appreciation for what it took to get there because it's not always easy and life isn't always simple and we're not always happy. And that's a part of the journey too. But to give ourselves like that rumination, those thoughts continuing to repeat over and over and over, you can give yourself so much peace and so much acceptance by just being like, and this is where I'm at today. And I have a couple of affirmations for you all that have helped me make moves in my life in a really, really, really healthy way. Um, the first one, and you can say this if you're a woman or you can change it to if you're a man, but I say, and I journal, I am a woman of action. 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 If I don't want to do something, but I know that it needs to get done, I am a woman of action. Another affirmation, I'm doing my best and my best is good enough for me. My life does not need to be predetermined by other people's expectations of me. And that is mental clutter. People telling you who to be and what to do and what to wear and how to say and how to show up. Are you kidding me? Let it go and be yourself. And then the third one, I love the wonderful woman I was created to be, or I love the wonderful man I was created to be, right? Because that means that you don't have to be anyone else. And you don't have to be what anyone else tells you to be. You just get to be yourself. So I know, Candice, you and I had a lot more that we planned on talking about, but you know how we get. Um, I want to move into Q&A. If you guys have questions, please drop them in the chat. We have one, and you might have advice for this, or you might not, Candice, but this is such a beautiful name. Decizia? Let me know if I said that right. But they go, that resonated with me. I used to journal, but after a while that started to feel like another task on the list. What would you recommend?
Oh my gosh, I completely understand. I think the things that we want to do, but that we're so caught up in like life's responsibilities do feel like a chore because everything else feels like a chore, right? So the very thing we need to do feels like, oh, like just another thing. What I would do is don't do it with any expectation. I used to journal pages long. Like I would do like a whole book of one day and it felt like a chore after a while. So I started telling myself if I write one word today, tired. That's it. You know why? Because that catharsis, that release might trigger me and catalyze me to want to write more. Like, dang, I feel relief just from writing that one word. It don't have to be a complete sentence. Because and I think I heard of like bullet journaling or something where you don't write in completion, right? You write what comes to you in outline form, because that is like an atomic habit. That's an atomic way of tracking your feelings. If you've ever gotten a fitness journal, it will ask you, how do you feel today? And all you do is circle it. You don't even write anything necessarily. So journaling, don't have an expectation of how much to write. If you're used to writing a lot, that's okay. Write as much as comes naturally to you. And again, make it a ritual, make it a routine. Pair it with something you enjoy. Are you an audio type of person where you can listen to something in the background and still consume it? If so, turn on your favorite show and let that play in the background so you feel like the feelings of enjoyment, right? Like the dopamine, serotonin, all of that stuff that you feel, and then journal. Just let it flow out. Have no expectation. Don't compare yourself to the last time you journal because I think that's what a lot of us do is be like, I have to be the exact same way I was before to feel effective and productive. No, do what comes to you in that moment. Because Kira, I think you spoke to this like every day is like new. Every day is different. I'm okay. I do my best and that's enough. And if your journaling today was saying exhausted, that's okay. That's enough. Do just like again, start small and then build off of that. If you feel good about it, write more. If you feel like that's it, write more and be completely content with you writing just that. And that's all you have to do. But make it a ritual, make it a routine as well.
I love that. Yeah, I'm a huge advocate for journaling. I live in my mind a lot and I ponder and contemplate a lot, and it's nice to
Mm,
just chill and get it all out.
yeah.
So before we come to an end, we have about 2 minutes left. Are there any final questions that anyone has? Um, and thank you all. One thing I want to say is thank you all for being so ridiculously active in the chat. Like,
Yes,
I get fueled by this energy, and I know that we're building a
same.
community, and I know that I see names over and over and over, the same name every week, and that lights me up beyond belief. There are a lot of suggestions as well. There are app suggestions in the chat. There are journaling suggestions. There's so much going on in the chat, so I would suggest it.
Yes.
Does anyone have any final questions before I start closing us out? No, there doesn't have to be either. I am going to pull up some links, and this was needed this morning. I love that. And thank you all so much for filling out the survey. At the end of this, there's another survey that pops up really just about like life guides as a whole. How do you utilize life guides? And there is a place where you can leave comments, suggestions, feedback, any of it. And I do look at those, and there are suggestions that I'm going to be putting into place within as we start our next season, so in July, because you all are just smart. I need some feedback sometimes. So this is our Rooted in Well-Being series registration link. That is our larger mental well-being conversation that we're having next Wednesday. I highly suggest registering for that and being a part of the conversation. One of our guides, Erin Rose, will be there, and then we have another guide who is to be determined. But other than that, thank you all so much for being here. Candice, as always, I love having you as a co-host with me. It is so much fun. And yeah, have a beautiful Monday. I hope that you look around at your life and see that your clutter is attainable and you only have to do one step at a time, and it gets easier and easier.